Hey everybody, Riley from EarthGrown.ca here with your health tip of the week. Now this week I wanted to talk about some of the popular diets out there and where I see a lot of people go wrong with them. So you've probably heard of diets like gluten-free and paleo and those sorts of things. And they, generally speaking, they work. And they don't work for, I think, the reason that a lot of people think they work. So what I mean by that is, paleo doesn't work because you're eating like a caveman. Paleo works because you're not eating junk, and you're really focusing on a lot of whole nutrient-dense foods. Something like gluten-free, for example, too. When I first was diagnosed with celiac, my wife and I were astonished by all the different foods that had wheat in them. And then when you look back at it now, you realize that most of those foods were all processed, right? So different like canned soups and different condiments and sauces and all that kind of stuff. It usually has some sort of wheat or barley or something like that, used as a thickener. And so again, when you go gluten-free, typically you're going to be eliminating a whole whack of different processed junk, right? And in some of the earlier videos we've talked about that, how those processed foods are typically really high in calories and really low in nutrient density, so not good. So again, you're not losing weight and feeling better and everything because you stopped eating gluten, but because you focused on all of these good things. And same with paleo, it's not because you're now eating like a caveman, it's because you kind of smartened up and you're eating just better in general. But again, where I see a lot of people go wrong with specifically these two diets is they try and I'll call it cheat. So what they do is they look for gluten-free breads and gluten-free cookies and all of this kind of stuff. And so what the whole diet works because you're trying to avoid all these things, but what you're trying to do is find some sort of wraparound or cheat or whatever and still get all of that same stuff in there. Now, I know this for a fact. Most of the gluten-free bread that you buy is twice as high in calories as regular bread. There is so much junk in there, it's unbelievable. I get it, as someone with celiac, you miss bread and that kind of thing. But if you don't have a gluten allergy or celiac or something like that, you're probably better off sticking with actual just bread. Same with like paleo diet. You'll go online and look for paleo recipes or something like that, or even in the store, you're going to find things, paleo cake and paleo cookies and paleo bars and all this kind of stuff. And they're typically not as bad as like a gluten-free or a low-fat or whatever, but you're missing the whole point. And the whole point is to avoid these foods in general. So yeah, there might be a paleo sticker or a Weight Watchers brownies or whatever, but you're missing the big picture. And the point of these diets is really to just avoid all that stuff in general. Now, again, speaking from experience here, first thing I did when I was diagnosed with celiac was find out, okay, well, how do I make gluten-free pizza? How do I make, gluten-free pasta and all this kind of stuff? Because that made up the majority of my diet. And it was, it was bad. I ended up gaining a lot of weight and just kind of, wasn't really great. So, come a long way since then. And realize that, it's not, you can't just try and find a way to eat the same only with, some different ingredients in there. Really take it to the next level. If you're going paleo, if you're going gluten-free, whatever diet you want to choose to kind of stick with and adhere to, don't try and cheat and find a loophole. Just stick with it. And again, these diets work because you're avoiding processed foods, you're avoiding all of that junk, all the additives, all that kind of stuff. Stick with whole food sources and you're going to be much, much better off in the long run. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this tip can help you out, and if you haven't done so yet, again, please sign up for the newsletter, the email list at EarthGrown.ca. We're going to have some special offers and that kind of thing coming up in the next few weeks here, so really appreciate it if you would sign up for that list, and we'll see you next week.